what we want isn't always what's best for us. A lot of the time, the things that we want aren't things that we need. For example, you can need to get away from people that hurt you. You need to be in an environment where people will treat you right. You need a better job. You need a change of scenery. You need to learn to be on your own. But we have this odd tendency of just dismissing it because we're used to the things that we want. Well, we want to be around these people. And even when it's costing us a lot, we're sacrificing things that we don't need to be sacrificing for the things that we want. And then we look back and we hate ourselves for it, and we come to regret everything. And we, it's, I did that for so long. I've done that for so long that years later, I'm still feeling the effects of it, and I'm constantly trying to catch myself in real time and be like, "Oh, I want this thing." And a lot of the time, I also know from firsthand experience. I assume that there are people out there because I'm not alone, and I know I'm not, and that's why I'm making this video, because we're not alone. None of us are, and I want to prove it. And I know that there are times where I've let myself off the hook. I've let myself off the hook because I'm just thinking, well, there's no one to hold me accountable. And even though I intend to hold myself accountable, you think it maybe a little bit wouldn't hurt. Maybe slacking off a little bit won't hurt. And then you just keep doing it. But when you have someone there that's your ride or die, that'll be your accountability partner, the person that will make sure that you're looked after, and they won't take any crap. And when they see you slacking, they'll call you out for it. Those are the people that you need to be around. And also they'll force you to realize and to remember that what you want most of the time isn't, or what you think you want most of the time is not what you need. You know, when you try to really use self will as a way to move through life, and you're just thinking, I can do this, I alone can do this for my own will, my own power. I mean, that has a part to play, but if you're not, think of the universe as a vast ocean, and it's trying to direct you to where you need to go. And yet, no matter what you do, you're fighting against it. No matter what you do, every time you turn around, you feel yourself getting pulled because you're trying to go in one direction while you need to go in another. And you may not realize it yet. Sometimes it takes people their entire lives until they're drowning and dead to realize. And mostly this video is for people in my age bracket because I'm 21, so this is for a lot of young people, young adults, older teenagers. That's kind of the demographic I'm going for, but this is for people of all ages. So, but we have a tendency of fighting against that current, against where we need to go, against where our heart is being called to go, where our spirits are being called to go, and where our intuition is saying, yo, maybe this isn't the best way for you to go. You should go that way. We dismiss it because we don't want to be alone. We don't want to be without, and it always a lot. I've noticed with many people, including myself, that it comes from a lack of something. There's something that you want, but you see it in other people, or you see it and you're never able to get it, and sometimes what you want you're not ready for. you know like sometimes what you want you're not ready for yet. Maybe you have growing to do, maybe you have a long way to go before you get there, and everyone moves at a different pace. And so what's best for you is just to take life one day at a time, one step at a time, and to keep going, because then that's when all that good stuff happens, all the beautiful stuff happens. And then when you stop fighting your life and stop fighting and wrestling with the universe and the metaphorical ocean for control, and you learn to flow with the current, and you're not fighting against it, you'll see that actually you're being pulled to a place that is of growth, that is positive, that is meant for you. And when you like, it's great to have desires and whatever it is you're called to, likely that's where you need to go. But when you keep trying to pretend, you keep playing pretend and hiding for others, and hiding from yourself and hiding from others and what you think they're going to think about you, you're hiding behind this idea of what you want, but you don't realize that what you want also costs. You have to learn to let go in order to receive a lot of the time. And I don't want to sound preachy, I'm sorry, but that's my life. I've always been a person that wanted things and wanted people, and it was, for me, it was very hard to let go of people. Even now, I mean, it's a little easier because I have boundaries and standards now. I wasn't someone who had standards. I wasn't someone who could be able to say, well, I will not tolerate this. You know, I wasn't that guy. As a matter of fact, I was the like I was just a kid coming up, single family home, single mom, one of four kids. It was crazy. But my mom always supported me, and it was rough. I'm not trying to feed y'all a sob story. I'm trying to give y'all an understanding as to how I got to the way I was. I wanted so much, and yet when I didn't get it, I held resentment, and a lot of it was directed at the world, and a lot of it was directed towards myself. Both of those things, it's human, but it wasn't right at the same time, and I needed to learn. I needed to grow. That if I wanted to keep the people I loved around, I needed to change the things I wanted. I needed to stop wanting so much, and I needed to learn that what I needed was far greater, that whatever it is I need is beyond my wants. And I'm constantly being reminded of that. I'm constantly being reminded of that every day when I go to work and I don't want to do this thing. Well, you need to work if you want to make money so you can get your own place, right? So you can do this, right? So you got to do it. If I didn't want to end up on the street and with the whole family with me, I had to keep working despite my complaints and my concerns about how little they actually did to contribute. My life has been a wrestle, and recently I just told the universe, I told God, I said, you know what, I surrender. Whatever it is that life has to offer, I'm tired of fighting because it always, I'm humbled. And I don't like that feeling of being dragged along the way and being forced to see a point that I'm not open to. So let me just open myself to every opportunity. Every moment's an opportunity. But I needed to open myself to the opportunities of admitting when I'm wrong, and when I'm right, be humble about it. Be confident about myself and what I can do. And whatever it is I need trumps my wants. That's still a thing I've got 75% of that part down, and I'm still working on it because I'm human and I'm young and I can be very stupid and impulsive and stubborn sometimes. It's something I'm really trying to work on. And I don't mean to be stubborn or hard-headed or screw myself over. Maybe it's just because we can't help ourselves sometimes, because you come up with such a lack that once you see it all and you're able to afford it, you could go grab it all. But then when it's prohibiting you from getting closer to your goals, you feel bad about yourself, and then it just prolongs a vicious cycle of wanting things and realizing that you're not getting any closer to what you need. What you think you want and what your soul knows it needs are two different things, and we tend to mix the two. At with what we want is what we need. And majority of the time, almost all of the time, that is completely incorrect. What we want isn't always what's good for us, because sometimes it can be at the detriment of our own health and procrastination, and stop us from being our best selves. So you can want things, but what do you need to do? Do what you need to do so you have room for the things that you want. That way you'll be ready for it when you receive it. That way you know how to handle it, how to appreciate it. And then when you get it, you know it's time, that it's your time. And that's all I got to say. Y'all have a good one. Y'all have a blessed night.